This is the Get Published podcast, sponsored by Brodie Consulting Group. To get more information about our coaching and publishing services, go to getpublishedpodcast.com. Hello, I am Paul Brodie, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Get Published podcast, where we help authors get published with a proven system that works. Today, we're being joined by Deirdre Breckenridge, author of Answers for Modern Communicators. Deirdre, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's great to be chatting with you.
You ready to get started?
Yes, definitely.
All right. Question number one. What is the one piece of advice that you would give to a first-time author who is currently writing their book?
I would say that as you're writing your book, to continue to read a lot, not just business books, but also fiction, because you will see how it helps to develop your voice and how much you will grow as you read a lot. That's what I found.
Excellent. And to transition into the other side of things, what do you feel is the hardest part about getting published?
Well, I'll tell you, it depends if you're going with a large publisher, which I've always been with large publishers. Getting noticed by the larger publisher is definitely tough because there are so many authors, and there is a process, and sometimes it is a who you know and the foot in the door. At the same time, there is a wonderful opportunity to self-publish, but you really, really have to be very disciplined with that. From what I've heard, I haven't self-published, but when you're self-publishing, you're kind of creating your book, and I've known some folks who haven't been able to pull the trigger to actually get the book out there. Because bigger publishers they're squeaky wheels, and they will keep after you very, very much to get your chapters done.
You bring up a great point. And what I would like to ask you is, in regards to getting noticed by traditional publishers, what tactics have you used that you feel work really well?
So from my experience, I'm going to be transparent here. I was extremely lucky in terms of it's a little bit of luck, skill, and timing. My little agency was acquired by a larger agency whose two principals were authors, and it was their introduction to Prentice Hall that basically got me my first book, which was called Cyber Branding. And it was really bringing your brand on the internet and how to create the right messaging about your brand. So, with that said, it was that introduction that helped me. But what I'm noticing is that peers, I know lots of authors, some have actually self-published and have created such large networks and so much passion and energy around a self-published book that they've been picked up by a larger publisher, just based on the size of the network and the interest. So that is one way. If you grow your network, and you definitely have a lot of passionate friends who are sharing, and there's a lot of talk and amplification, that is definitely a way that you will get noticed.
Excellent. And to transition a little bit more into the marketing side, please share a marketing strategy that you have used in your book launch that has worked well.
So what I've been doing, I didn't realize it for my first couple of books, but for my last four, what I've done is I have, it's not just about my perspective and experience. I did a lot of research, and I would include other experts to come in and share and to give either their own perspective in the chapters or case studies. So with my latest book, Answers for Modern Communicators, at the end of every chapter, I had marketing experts weigh in. So when you have marketing experts who clearly are friends and really professionals, they also come with large networks and a lot of passion. when it comes time to launch your book, all you have to do is send a copy to those influencers or marketing experts, and they're more than happy to promote and get the word out because they're in the book and they feel proud and they feel a lot of passion toward the project.
You bring up a great point. I actually used a similar strategy with one of my publishing books about a year ago, where I reached out to about 20 author pals and I had them all share what they thought was, one of those questions that for a first-time author, what should you, what's one of the best things that you should know if you could do this again, so to speak. So in other words, as a first-time author, what is it that main thing you should really know going into this? And I had 20 of them that actually were kind enough to give their feedback, and they actually cross-promoted the book, and I utilized several who were kind enough to do editorial reviews as well, and it was a really nice way to expand that network.
Yes, I was just going to say that, when you tap into your influencers or your experts or your friends, at launch they're going to share, and then they continue on. So it could end up with book reviews. They could blog about the experience of being in the book or what they shared. They can take it to a whole new level. And they also love to participate in other opportunities you create for them. So, for example, for Answers for Modern Communicators, I'm going to start a Facebook Live series and invite those influencers to elaborate more on my book is a Q&A format. So I curated questions for years, things that are, people want to know. If you're a modern communicator, do I do this? Do I do that? Deirdre, how would you handle reputation, relationships? So on the show, whatever question or area the expert handles, we're just going to dive in a little bit deeper. And I just find that they love to do things with you and constantly support you.
Well, and a great strategy with that, too, is they can actually promote those Facebook Lives to their audience. So you get your audience, and then you get their audience together, and then additional organic traffic from that. So it's a great concept.
Thank you. Exactly. So it's, you're going, instead of one-to-one, it's one-to-many.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's my approach with coaching. I'm always about one-to-many, because it's much better to deal with 100 clients than one, especially when you have that same content. It makes such a difference just to expand out that network.
Definitely.
Well, I'm going to ask you the most difficult question now, because this is proven 40 episodes in, and I think this is always the hardest one, and that is, what is your favorite book, and what was the number one thing that you learned from it?
Okay, so I read so many books because I also have a podcast called Women Worldwide. And most of the guests, I'd say at least 75% are authors. So I read their books. But I'm going to tell you my latest favorite book that I want to shout from the rooftop. It is so good. It's called The Go-Giver by Bob Berg and his co-author, John David Mann. This book is all about the power of giving and sort of how you do that, the value you bring as a giver, and how you can share, also that everything comes full circle. And he goes through, he creates a story literally around characters and what this one character goes through to learn in business the giving process, and how at the end of the day it actually feeds him as a professional. I think it's a brilliant book.
Yeah, I need to check that out. I'm actually reading Storytelling by Donald Miller right now, and that's just been a huge eye-opener. So I think Go-Giver is going to be my next book for sure.
Oh, good. What was the one you're reading so I can mark it down?
Storytelling, Story Brandon by Donald Miller. It is a game changer.
Cool. I'm going to check that out. Thank you.
Well, and I like the concept of Go-Giver because that's my philosophy. I give all my information for free. What my philosophy is, we give out the information, we help as many people as we can, and then it comes back with karma. You take care of people, things come back, and if you don't take care of people, they come back in a different way.
You know what? That's awesome, and you're going to see when you read Bob's book that you hit at least two of the laws in his book.
Absolutely. Well, to transition to our final question, I'd like to ask you, what is your favorite quote and why?
So I'm all about the quotes, but a recent quote that I came across that I thought was so good and sort of feeds into this whole notion of I'm all about giving a voice and a platform to people who want to share a passionate story. So Matt, who was former Secretary of State to Clinton, she said, "It took a long time to develop a voice, and now that I have it, I'm not going to be silent." And I have a big smile on my face because I love that.
Excellent. And why do you feel so strongly about that quote?
I feel so strongly. Well, I've been, first of all, finding my voice and helping others to find their voice and to share their stories as a professional in PR and marketing for 30 years. But my podcast show, Women Worldwide, is all about giving women a voice and a platform. So I feel very, very strongly that to find that voice and to have the platform to share it, that, you're no longer going to be silent, and we need to power up the voices.
Excellent. Well, Deirdre, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show. What is the best way for people to find you online?
So I would say, please, I'm on Twitter. I'm at Deirdre Breckenridge, and people ask me questions all of the time. You can also check out my website. It's my author's blog at DeirdreBreckenridge.com. And also my company site is pureperformancecom with 2M's.com.
Excellent. Well, Deirdre, I want to thank you once again for being a guest on the show, and I wish you all the best in your author journey ahead.
Thank you so much, Paul. I really appreciate it.
Thanks again for joining us today. To learn more about how to get your book published with a proven system that works, grab a free copy of my book at getpublishedpodcast.com.